Peter sank his teeth into the raw, bloody steak, relishing the metallic taste as the Voth looked on in revulsion, their stomachs churning at the sight of the humans' sharp canines ripping into flesh. As an exobiologist living among the Voth on their home planet of Vothar, Peter was fascinated by their unique biology and culture. The Voth had evolved from prey animals into a technologically advanced reptilian species with a society built on harmony, cooperation, and non-violence. Their strict herbivorous diet and pacifist nature stood in stark contrast to the carnivorous and often aggressive humans. Peter struggled to adapt to the Voth's way of life, constantly at odds with their values and social norms. The handful of humans allowed to study and live on Vothar were viewed with a mix of curiosity and mistrust, their predatory nature seen as a threat to the peaceful Voth society. But when Peter stumbled upon a hidden Voth military installation deep in the lush jungles of Zathara, he discovered a chilling secret. The Voth were preparing for an imminent invasion by the Kralux, a hostile insectoid race from a neighboring star system. The pacifist Voth were woefully unprepared for the coming conflict, their civilization facing certain annihilation without help. Peter knew that the carnivorous humans were the Voth's only hope for survival. He had to find a way to convince the Voth leadership to accept assistance from his species, despite their deep-seated mistrust of humanity's predatory nature. Time was running out, and the fate of an entire planet hung in the balance. The humans had to succeed, or the Voth would be wiped from existence, and the galaxy would lose one of its most unique and fascinating civilizations. Peter raced to the Voth Council chambers, his heart pounding in his chest as he burst through the ornate double doors. The Voth councillors, seated in a semicircle around Grand Overseer Niran, turned to face him with a mix of surprise and annoyance. "Grand Overseer Niran, esteemed councillors," Peter gasped, trying to catch his breath. "I have urgent news. The Kralux are planning to invade Vothar. We must prepare our defenses immediately." Niran's eyes narrowed, his scales shimmering under the chamber's soft light. "And how did you come by this information, human? Your species has a history of aggression and deception. Why should we trust your word?" Peter stepped forward, his hands trembling slightly. "I discovered a hidden Voth military installation in the Zathara jungle. The evidence of the impending invasion was clear. Please, you must believe me. The fate of your civilization hangs in the balance." The councillors murmured amongst themselves, their voices tinged with doubt and skepticism. Niran raised a clawed hand, silencing the room. "Our advanced cloaking technology and energy shields have kept us safe for generations. We have no reason to believe that the Kralux pose a significant threat to our world. Your claims are baseless, human. This council will not be swayed by fear-mongering and speculation." Peter's shoulders slumped, frustration and desperation welling up inside him. He knew that he needed more concrete evidence to convince the stubborn Voth leadership. As he left the council chambers, he activated his communicator, contacting his friend and colleague, Dr. James Singh. "James, it's Peter. The Voth Council won't listen to reason. We need to find proof of the Kralux invasion plans. Meet me at the landing site of the Kralux ship we detected earlier. We're going to infiltrate their vessel and gather the evidence we need." Hours later, Peter and James crouched behind a dense thicket of bioluminescent foliage, observing the Kralux ship from a distance. The insectoid vessel towered over the surrounding trees, its metallic exoskeleton glinting in the soft light of Vothar's twin moons. "Okay, here's the plan," James whispered, his dark eyes focused on the ship's entrance. "I'll hack into their communication systems and download any data related to the invasion. You keep watch and make sure we don't get caught." Peter nodded, his hand resting on the stun gun at his hip. They had to be careful not to harm any of the Kralux, as doing so would only further alienate the Voth and jeopardize their mission. The two humans crept towards the ship, using Peter's knowledge of the terrain to avoid detection. Once inside, James set to work on the ship's computer systems, his fingers flying over the alien interface as he searched for the information they needed. "Got it!" James exclaimed, his voice barely above a whisper. The Kralux are planning to enslave the Voth and exploit Vothar's resources. We have to get this data back to the Council. As they made their way back to Zathara, Peter and James were suddenly surrounded by Voth security forces. A tall, imposing figure stepped forward, his scales a deep, rich purple. Zorthal, Peter breathed, recognizing the influential Voth politician. You humans have meddled in our affairs for the last time, Zorthal hissed, his eyes glinting with malice. Your actions threaten the very fabric of our society. Seize them! Peter and James exchanged a desperate glance before turning and fleeing into the dense jungle, the sound of the Voth security forces close behind them. They were now fugitives on an alien world, racing against time to save a civilization that feared and mistrusted them. Peter and James darted through the thick underbrush, their hearts pounding as the shouts of the Voth security forces echoed behind them. They stumbled upon a hidden entrance to a network of underground tunnels, once used by the Voth's ancestors to escape ancient predators. Without hesitation, they plunged into the darkness, hoping to evade their pursuers. As they navigated the winding passages, a soft light caught Peter's eye. They cautiously approached, discovering a hidden chamber filled with Voth rebels, led by a fierce young female named Lirana. She stepped forward, her scales shimmering in the dim light. You are the humans who tried to warn the Council, Lirana said, her voice steady. We believe in the necessity of defending our planet against outside threats. The Council's pacifism will be our downfall. Peter and James exchanged glances, realizing they had found unlikely allies. Lirana revealed that she had been secretly training a small group of Voth in the art of combat, using ancient techniques preserved in forbidden texts. We need your help, Peter said, his eyes locked on Lirana's. The Kralux invasion is imminent. With your knowledge of the tunnels and our combat expertise, we may stand a chance. Together they began training the rebel Voth in modern human combat tactics and weaponry, using equipment smuggled from the human embassy. Peter and Lirana worked side by side, their bond growing stronger as they learned to appreciate each other's strengths and unique perspectives. Weeks passed, and the rebel force grew in number and skill, but their progress was shattered when Zorthal, now allied with the Kralux, launched a surprise attack on the rebel hideout. Chaos erupted as the Voth rebels fought bravely against the invaders, but they were outmatched by the Kralux's superior technology. In the midst of the battle, James was captured by Zorthal's forces, his cries for help drowned out by the sounds of combat. Peter watched helplessly as his friend was dragged away, his heart torn between the need to continue training the Voth rebels and the desperate urge to save his friend. Peter locked eyes with Lirana, his voice urgent but steady. You must continue training the rebels. They're our only hope against the Kralux invasion. I have to save James. Lirana nodded, her scales shimmering with determination. Go, we will be ready when you return. Peter slipped out of the rebel hideout, his mind racing as he made his way towards the Kralux ship. He crept through the dense underbrush, his movements precise and calculated, drawing upon his knowledge of the ship's layout from their previous infiltration. As he approached the vessel, Peter spotted a small maintenance hatch near the rear of the ship. He quickly hacked the lock, the alien technology yielding to his skilled manipulations, and slipped inside undetected. The ship's interior was a labyrinth of dimly lit corridors and pulsing conduits. Peter moved silently, his senses heightened, listening for any signs of Kralux activity. As he neared the ship's central command, hushed voices caught his attention. Peter pressed himself against the wall, edging closer to the entrance of the command center. He peered inside, his eyes widening at the sight of Zorthal and a towering Kralux, their exoskeletons glinting in the harsh light. The Overseer will be pleased with our progress. The Kralux leader Zorvak clicked, his mandibles twitching. The conquest of Vothar is just the beginning. With the Overseer's guidance, we will bring the galaxy to its knees. Zorthal's scales rippled with anticipation. And the Voth will finally understand the true nature of power. They will serve us, or they will perish. Peter's heart raced. The the magnitude of the conspiracy sending a chill down his spine. He realized that the fate of not just Vothar, but the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. He had to find James and escape with the information they'd gathered. Moving swiftly, Peter made his way to the detention center, his mind reeling from the revelation of the Overseer's existence. He found James in a small, dimly lit cell, his friend's face bruised but resolute. "Peter," James whispered, relief washing over his features, "I knew you'd come." Peter quickly deactivated the cell's energy barrier, helping James to his feet. "We don't have much time. The Kralux are part of something much bigger than we realized. We need to get this information back to the rebels." As they turned to leave, the detention center door slid open, revealing Zorthal and a group of heavily armed Kralux soldiers. "Going somewhere, humans?" Zorthal sneered, his eyes glinting with malice. Peter and James exchanged a glance, their bodies tensing as they prepared for the fight of their lives. They lunged forward, their human strength and agility catching the Kralux off guard. Peter ducked and weaved, his fists connecting with the hard exoskeletons of the insectoid soldiers, while James grappled with Zorthal, the two locked in a desperate struggle. The air crackled with energy as the Kralux fired their weapons, the searing bolts narrowly missing the humans as they fought with a ferocity born of desperation. Peter and James moved in perfect sync, their years of training and shared experiences guiding their every move. In the chaos of the battle, Peter spotted a control panel on the far wall. He surged forward, his fingers flying over the alien interface as he searched for the ship's self-destruct sequence. The Kralux soldiers closed in, their weapons trained on the lone human. With a triumphant shout, Peter activated the self-destruct, alarms blaring throughout the ship. "James, we have to go," he yelled, dodging a volley of energy bolts as he sprinted towards his friend. James nodded, delivering a final crushing blow to Zorthal before turning to follow Peter. The two humans raced through the ship's corridors, the countdown to destruction echoing in their ears as they fought their way towards the maintenance hatch. Virtuous. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.